Hello there, welcome to Dove Eyes with Chinwe Kalu. It's another wonderful opportunity for us to be with you. We want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be a blessing to you today. Our mission is still to strengthen the family, to keep it as strong as it can be, such that everybody that comes out on emanates from that family is able to be their best self. That is what family is really all about. And so today we have another wonderful episode for you, and I'm looking forward to the things we're going to be sharing today. Now, when we go for weddings, we always, watch the couple as they take their vows, and they say, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Okay. And I remember a young man, I was in a premarital counseling class once, and when they got to the place where we were talking about for better, for worse, he said, no, for better, for better. And, the counselors kind of took him on because they made him understand that life happens. Yes, God will see you through whatever you face, but life can happen. And so that's why we say for better, for worse. He said, no, in fact, he left the argument saying, he insisted that it is for better, for better. But we know that it can happen for better, for worse. Marriage can go, there are seasons in marriage, things can go up, things can go down. At the end of the day, it is still till death do us part. And so today I have a good friend, a brother, a professional, who, I'd like to introduce to you Tony Osato Osawaye. He's a friend, a brother, and someone I have a lot of admiration and respect for, especially because of this topic we're talking about today, for better, for worse. Tony, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Chinwe. It's a pleasure.
It's good to have you here. He's my brother. He's my friend. He's my brother, my friend. He's also someone I know who can talk and talk real. What we want to do is make it real on Dove Eyes, because there's no point in me coming to tell you all kinds of things, and at the end of the day, we're not able to live out what we believe. Yeah. And so when we say that the family unit is breaking apart, it's because people are not giving it what it requires. And so today, Tony is going to be talking to us about some of the things that he has gone through in terms of being married and having to hold on, as per being married. Okay, so Tony, you've been married. How long have you been married?
Well, by the grace of God, by November 18 this year will be 24 years.
24. He got married a year after us,
so
yeah?
You're a senior just by a year.
Okay, so tell us a little about your wife.
Well, Fumi is my friend.
Yeah. Tell us how you met her.
She's my first and only love.
Okay.
And there's this song about the first cut is the deepest.
Yes.
Fumi is like my first cut. Not in any way you may have imagined.
Well,
yes.
We'll leave that.
But she's my first cut, and she's a friend that I've known for about 40 years. And we eventually married in our early 20s. And now we are like middle ages in marriage.
Yes.
And that's basically it. She's a friend. She's a sister.
Yeah.
She
was a daughter of a family friend. Yeah. So tell us, Tony, you are cutting this gist. What I like about the fact is that, like you said, she's the first cut is deepest. You actually met her as teenagers, right?
Yes.
And at that point, you were just a boy and a girl.
No. For me and for Fumi, I must say, she's not a boy and a girl kind of person.
Okay.
And she's a little bit grown up from day one.
Yeah.
She's like our daughter, which is almost like your daughter.
Yes.
Our daughters are like our daughters.
Yes.
She's always been a grown-up young person.
Okay.
I met her in maybe 11 or 12.
Yeah.
I've known her since 10.
Yeah.
And we talked to each other. I told her I wanted you to be my girlfriend at that young age.
Yes.
And she said to me, I don't want to be your girlfriend. I want to be your life partner.
Wow.
And that I don't do boyfriend and girlfriend.
At 10, 11.
At 10 and 11. I'm just a year older than her.
Yes.
So you can imagine for me to also want a girlfriend
at that age.
So she said to me, I want to be your life partner, And we exchange letters on such gist. I write lovely letters.
Yeah.
So she replied me, and I recall my words to her in my reply was, you are an enigma for you to say you want a life partner at this young age. So we made those commitments that's what we want to do with each other.
Yes.
And even though life happened, in the sense that we felt, must we keep to those commitments? Yes. Eventually, we kept to those commitments and we became life partners at the age of 26 and 27.
Yeah. Wow. So you can imagine that between 13 and, you had gone to university, she had gone off to university somewhere else, and still came back together to, ultimately. In fact, you found faith after, you both found faith after these commitments, and even in faith, you continued your commitments.
Yes. We both found faith. She found faith first.
Yes.
While she was in the University of Maiduguri.
Yes.
And eventually I found faith when I was 7.
Okay.
And eventually she felt, because you have found Jesus doesn't mean I must marry you.
Yes.
I have, you're now my brother beyond boyfriend and girlfriend, beyond here.
Yes.
So you can as well marry anybody you want. And I said, no, I keep to my commitments.
Wow.
And they know me at Sheraton Ikeja. I used to be #1 person to go buy all the cakes at Sheraton,
to share with her.
to give to her.
Yeah.
And to give to all her sisters.
Yes.
Like a 30-something-year-old sister will say to me, Uncle T, I've been eating your cakes since I was like 3.
Yeah.
You must buy all the cakes until I marry.
Yeah.
She's like over 30 now.
Yes.
So I kept with it, and she realized that I don't give up when I make a commitment. And eventually she gave in. And we got married November 3rd, 1995 at the registry. Then November 18, 1995, in the household of God, we were joined by Reverend Chris Okotie.
Great. Okay, so here we are. Love, commitment, and those are the kind of things that we lack in this, and which is why I brought you on the show, so that you can make people understand that it's possible to be committed to one person for so long. Okay, so now you're married, and of course, the next thing, how in Nigeria, as soon as you get married, everybody starts to look at your wife's tummy. First, when I got married, they were looking at my tummy and thinking that I got married because I was already pregnant. So after some time, it's like, okay, so, all right. So at what point did the pressures for children now come? I mean...
Well, for us, I would say when we got married, because we felt we had been a good couple.
Yes, no, you didn't do anything.
Yeah, we didn't do anything funny. So we felt, this is time to catch up.
Yes.
And we told ourselves that, look, we should quickly get family planning.
Okay.
And we weren't under any pressure because we're a very fiercely independent couple.
Okay.
We mind our own business. It's all about Fumi and I alone. So nobody was there to say you must get pregnant or you must do this. So we said to ourselves, let's get family planning. So we were at Planned Parenthood in Obanikoro. And we were attending classes on how to do that right in church. So we planned to wait for a while. We were young, we were pursuing career.
That made sense.
And let's wait. So the first 1 year, nobody was looking at anybody's tummy. So we were waiting. We were enjoying ourselves as a young couple. Then after that, we got into what is called the parenting class, where you start talking about the planning to have a family, because we felt we needed to know how.
Yes.
We were learning on the job. Marriage is about learning on the job, really. Because nobody comes prepared beyond the examples of daddy and mother that you saw. So we decided to get help with learning on the job. So we had this parenting class, which you are a major part of. You and Yola and Terry Maxwell and the likes of this world were there. So we got help from that class. That class, enabled us to realize that, this family planning had some side effects, which could hamper us down the road. So we told ourselves, let's stop taking family planning medication. Let's just do the normal natural method of going about it. So then we started having challenges with the fact that we had gotten on some form of pills.
Wow.
So then we now decided that, look, 1 year, 2 years, let's start trying to have a child. We have a little bit more financially stable. My professional, I was working in a firm that was paying my bills. She was not working. She had said to me, look, I want you to take care of me full time. I don't ever want to work.
Wow.
I want to do business. So she was working with Pastor Machi Ashimolawa's Madison Media. She was driving his business with another lady. So we now said, let's try to have a family. So we now discovered that it wasn't as easy as just a walk in the park.
Yes.
Just get pregnant and have a child. So
Yeah.
that was the first challenge of having a child that we experienced as a young couple in our first 24 months of marriage.
Wow.
And that lingered for almost 4 years,
Yes.
which you know about.
4 years.
Yeah, so
of
4
trying.
years of trying, of being hands-on. Anything I do with my wife or family or with friends, I'm fully involved.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so I became a pro in getting my wife pregnant. I knew what to do and what not to do. The parenting class we were going taught us all the do's
Yes,
and
they
don'ts.
did. They really did. Yeah.
You know, so even when she got pregnant, I knew how to get her to do the bed rest, what not to do, what to do, and how to keep the baby intact, get the cervix tight. I became a pro. I can tell any young couple as to what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
I knew the kind of drugs to buy, you know, to keep progesterone down.
Yes.
So I knew all the ropes.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So, but in spite of all that, knowing all the ropes, the child still didn't come.
Yes.
You know, so that was the first challenge we had of this marriage not being a walk in the park, trying to have a child.
Yes.
You know.
So eventually 4 years you had to wait, right?
Yes.
And in between there were miscarriages, right?
Yeah, we had about 3 miscarriages. Some went as far as 6 months.
Wow.
Some, you know, I still remember vividly, you know, the experience in the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, and oh, my baby. Even when your wife is under anesthesia, they can
Yes.
still know what is going on.
Yes.
You know, so we had that like 3 times.
Yeah.
And you guys were all part of it.
We were really, we were. But you know, there's some details I'm getting to know now that I didn't even know that time. But you see, here we are after 3 miscarriages, you know, and at some point it became like something we all now started to talk to God about and pray about, you know. And I remember that there was once when, you know, just before you eventually broke through, I got pregnant and I didn't want to be pregnant.
For the 4th child?
No,
the 5th child?
no. That's for my 2nd child, my 3rd child, but 2nd living child. I just started a job and I didn't want to be pregnant at that time. And so when I got pregnant, I said to the Lord, Lord, see for me, we've been praying with her. Take this one, give her. Do you understand? And I was like, that is a place where all of us will rejoice concerning. Why don't you take this one and give her? You know? And you will not believe it. Fumi got pregnant about that same time. And we had our babies
just about
a week apart.
5 days older than each other.
Yes. So Melly came and then Mariche came.
Melly came on the 9th,
Yes,
Mariche came on the 15th. Yes.
You know, so we saw God's goodness through that trial. So the point we're making is even when they are the worst, there is still that God, you know, aspect of our lives that brings the good parts. You know, weeping may tarry for a night, but joy will come in the morning, which is why it would have been terrible for you to give up at that point. You know?
No, it wasn't a question of giving up. It was, you know, I used to tell Fumi, my wife, that look, some of the fancy marriage vows that this generation and our generation was trying to come up with are not really in touch with the realities of marriage.
Yes.
Now, with experience and age, young age, I say we should stick to the for better, for worse. Because that is the essence of marriage itself. You know, vows have become too
watery,
fancy and watery that people
so it's
walk away from it, you know, because
so easily.
It doesn't carry the essence of what it's all about. So it wasn't about giving up. For us, even when Melly came, Melly's our daughter, she's about 20 now.
Yes.
In July 9th, she'll be 20. It was the least time that we were expecting her that she came. Because we were just going about her life. I was going about work. Fumi was going about, she was doing a master's in international law.
Yes.
She had dived into school in Unilag, and before we knew what was happening, she was pregnant. And the pregnancy was fantastic.
No threats, nothing.
No issues, no raising of legs, no pillow at the back, no not doing kitchen walks, nothing
just
at all.
Normal pregnancy.
As fit as a fiddle.
Wow.
You know, she was glowing.
Yes,
you know,
really beautiful
actually. She was enjoying her pregnancy, and Melly came stress-free.
Yes.
You know, so it tells me that, the time that God decides to do what he wants to do is when he does it.
Yes, and it is beautiful in that
It is
time.
beautiful in his time.
And we can wait for that time.
We waited for that time.
Yes. But now Melly has come and, we now think, all right, the children have started coming.
They should start rolling
in. So let the next one roll in. Just that I might say, Tony wanted 5 children and his wife wanted only 2.
Yeah.
All right.
That was an issue. Because I remember when we were dating, my dad is a daddy for the whole school and neighborhood. So that was the experience of life, that I wanted to replicate. So we used to argue. Fumi likes dotting all her I's and crossing her T's. I'm the one that likes dealing with things day by day.
Yes.
So she said to me, if you want more than 2 kids, we're not married. I said, no problem. I agree to your 2 kids. If you want mother-in-law and father-in-law to be coming to this house, we're not married. Don't worry, nobody will come. It's only you and I. If you want pounded yam like my dad, we're not married. Don't pound yam.
I will pound it when I want to.
I will pound yam and pound yam again. Your mom, now mother-in-law pounds yam for me. She loves to do it gladly. So we had all these back and forth things we must agree to clearly.
Before we
even though we had started, but we still have issues we have to be dealing with. So it wasn't, I knew kids will come, no big deal. We've not done anything funny.
Yes.
And here we are. Melly is there. We started trying for others. And it was like, God had other plans.
Yeah.
First year, second year, third year. 20 years after.
20 years after, there's still not a second child.
Melly, and I can always tell Melly, we always tell Melly, Fumi and I, even before you came 4 years, we had a name for you. The whole family of friends and church knew who Melly was. So we always say, Melly's coming, Melly's coming. We've had names for our twin boys since Melly came, Noel and Nathan.
Yes.
In fact, Melly tells, when she was younger, she would be like, Daddy, I'm tired of this Noel and Nathan thing. Where would they come? I said, that's the way we were. We were tired of calling your name.
Yes, until you showed up. Yeah.
So 20 years, we're still talking about Noel and Nathan.
And
while we're talking about Noel and Nathan, for me, it is not an issue. Why is it not an issue for me? Because even being a girl is not an issue.
Because she's also a female child.
The scripture that I use anytime I talk about my daughter is when God gave Anna a child. And Anna said, I have received a man child from God. That's the way I describe Mary. Manness in its wholeness.
Yes.
She's a complete child.
Yes.
You know her. She's not a girl child. She can't be described by her gender.
Not at all.
Not at all. So she's a complete manness in terms of completeness. Wholeness, entirety, lacking nothing.
Yes.
That's the way I see my daughter. And because of that, I'm always telling the Lord, both in private and in public, God, you have given me a man child, a complete child, a fully rounded, so she's everything. She's more than 10 sons to us.
You can say that
to me.
You can say that again.
Having said that, it doesn't mean my wife still doesn't want to have more.
Yes.
And the joke I always tell her is, do you know the resources that takes you, that you need to put together to train up a child? You want to have more at our middle ages. You need 30 million naira at least.
Even more.
Or more.
Even more.
To raise that, you want me to look for 60 million for Noel? And I'm very hands-on with children.
Yes.
I will do Grange runs. I will do Olashore runs. I will do Babcock runs.
At 80.
At 80. That means I'm going to do this thing till I'm 80. Think this thing well.
Beyond the children, I remember that we're talking about, for better for worse. And here's a guy who's had that kind of issue, has a female child. They're precious, even if you might not have personal pressures. What about when people come, and start saying, suggesting, making trying to make you see that you have a problem that you're not seeing?
Funny enough, the kind of structure I will say we live in. My experience is that I am very upfront about the fact that I have a wife and I have one man child.
Yes.
It's a badge that I wear everywhere and I'm proud of that structure. So nobody puts me under the pressure of, my family doesn't put me under the pressure of,
that's a blessing.
you need a child more than Melody, you know. And I have many children that are not necessarily biological,
I can say
that
also.
see me as Uncle Tony or Daddy Tony.
Yes.
So, and it has never been pressure for me. But I know that my wife gets pressured. She imagines, oh, it would be nice to have more children. And I jokingly tell her, but you wanted to now. So what's happened to this love to like want more children? You wanted to, God gave you one. So, and we're working with it. So I don't have pressure from family.
Yeah.
I don't have pressure from friends. Because even I don't have pressure from anybody. The only pressure I may say we have, or I have, is probably from my wife occasionally, who feels, oh, it would be nice for us to have. I remember my late father-in-law was always joking that, look, as tall and big as you are, so you won't give me a son. I said, I mean, they give son. So basically, I don't think I have pressure.
Okay, on
I
the
have
matter.
not been pressured in that area.
Okay.
The only pressure comes from my wife occasionally. My daughter absolutely has no pressure.
Oh, she's enjoying
herself. She says, oh, because the reason why I'm so grown up is because I didn't ever have time to be a child. I was among adults all my life.
All your life.
So from parents to aunties to grandparents. So I grew up so fast. You know, so
beyond the fact that there's one child, a girl, you know, at some point, Fumi also now has very bad, unexplainable, let me not say bad, but unexplainable health challenges that, you know, left you a little rattled. Let's say a little or rattled because it brought a lot of pressure at that point. Talk us through that whole experience, you know.
You see, that's why we say marriage is for better, for worse, you know, because sickness is part of life.
Yes.
That is why there is healing verses in the scripture to deal with it. And because you're a believer doesn't mean you won't have your valley time.
Yes.
So it was an unexpected ailment, you know, that happened to her on her trip. She usually travels. She was running a lingerie shop.
Yes.
I was doing very well then, next of kin,
Yes.
you know, and she draws a lot of travel to the UK or England. And one of those trips, I just got a call that she collapsed in the bathroom. And the next minute, they had rushed her to Queen Mary in the UK. And she was there for like weeks with one side of her body fully paralyzed.
Wow.
So I had to rush down to the UK to join them. I think our daughter was like 6.
Yeah.
And they had gone, you know, so I flew down. In fact, when I was going, I was wondering, Lord, what am I going to see? This lady traveled all strong and healthy. Now she's under, you know, whatever at Queen Mary. And they didn't even tell me how bad it was until I got there. So when I got there, she was one-sided, fully paralyzed.
Wow.
What she kept saying to me was, honey, get me back to Nigeria. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. So how did we deal with it? We dealt with it the only way we knew how. Faith in God and structure from family and friends, mostly church friends.
Yes.
You know, because our experience of Christianity was that of being self-sufficient in the Lord Jesus Christ. We had no help from nobody else but God. In fact, I can boldly say we don't have help from pastor. we were brought up by pastors who felt you must rely fully on the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So the structure we had was turning to the Lord Jesus Christ and telling a few friends and telling our church to pray along with us. And that was what we relied on.
Because at the end of the day, the doctors didn't even have any real answers.
No, the doctors didn't know what was going on. And typical of doctors in civilized climes, they don't rush into anything until they are fully sure. So for the first 4 to 6 weeks at Queen Mary, they were just observing her, doing all sorts of CT scan, finding out why is this woman paralyzed on one side. You know, maybe it's a blood clot, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And it was suspected to be something neurosurgeon, blah, blah, blah. And she was not given any medication. She was just under observation.
She was just lying there every day.
That was why she felt like, look, just get me back to Nigeria and get me back to my support structure and system. And eventually that was what we did. And that was an experience that lasted for over 6 years.
Yes.
Yes, 6 years of trusting God day by day. During that time, she didn't do anything.
She couldn't do anything.
Half of the time, she was bedridden. Half of the time, in fact, jokingly, recently I was telling Melly that, remember when we went to Milan? There was a time we did an European tour, and we were waiting for her in a bathroom in Rome, Then she takes forever to come out of bathroom because she couldn't handle those little details. And you can't go into a bathroom with her. And our daughter was still young. So we were joking that, look, Melly, remember we learned patience when we were dealing with mommy, through relating to mommy. We're still learning patience through relating to mommy. So we had to wait 30 minutes for her to come out of a bathroom. So it was the example in scripture that I used to explain that experience for 6 years. God can heal you as fast as a raven.
Yes.
He can also heal you as slow as a widow can bake bread or cake. Our healing was as slow as that widow baked a cake.
Yeah.
We had to do it day by day. It wasn't a quick fix.
Yes.
It was a day by day thing. And how did we cope? We coped by coping. We just live through life.
Yes.
And that's the only way to cope in anything. One day at a time.
So at the end of the day, what the point we're trying to make, and that's really what this whole show is about, is that marriage is about seasons of life. And like you called that valley seasons, where some things don't quite work out the way they're supposed to work. So we have young people these days, they get into marriage, and I hear that after 6 weeks, 2 months, young men decide it's done. Young girls just pack their bags and go. I'd just like you to, share a final word with such people so that they can understand that it's about the long haul. It's about the commitment. It's about working with God to get past situations that might come your way that are not palatable.
All right. For one, I think parents are getting it wrong with the way we marry our children off.
Oh, interesting.
If it doesn't cost them anything, they won't value it.
Yes.
We're at that age where our kids are beginning to talk about marriage. We're attending a lot of marriages.
Yes.
Our parents are burying our parents. Now we're having to marry our kids out.
Yeah.
So I tell my daughter every time that, look, the man that's going to marry you must pay the price.
Yes.
I paid heavily on your mom. The cost of marrying Fumi could have bought me land in Lekki. I didn't spare any money. That's the kind of value you need to place on your spouse, marriage.
Yes.
We shouldn't be marrying for our men, our boys, the way society is marrying for the boys. That's why they are walking away. It doesn't cost them anything.
It's not costing them anything.
It's not costing them. I was telling some of my cousins who married recently their kids, I wouldn't do that for my son if I had a son. I've told Melly every time, whoever is coming to marry you, I expect him to have his money to marry you.
Before coming to marry
That's the only way what you don't pay a price for, you do not value.
That's it.
That's why these kids are walking away from it. What did it cost him to marry that young lady? Did he buy his suit himself? Did he pay for the reception? Or did he buy clothes for his in-laws? Those are the things you and I had to do.
Yeah.
So, if you pay the price, you don't walk away from it.
Yeah.
You value what you pay
a price
for. That's why young people are walking away, because parents are marrying for people that are not ready to marry or take responsibility for marriage.
And so that's a huge reason why the marriage is actually failing.
For me, that's my perception. Yeah. That's one of it. And secondly, people don't understand that marriage starts after the wedding.
Yes.
And you learn on the job.
You do.
Nobody's experienced in the business of being a husband or being a wife. And learning on the job means you will face a lot of pitfalls. You will learn from those pitfalls. And recently, this example I used like to give also, the Okogus. I was reading about them about 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe the man is late now, this Sonny Okogu.
Okay.
The wife was being interviewed in one of those pullouts in the Guardian. And she said to me, she said in that interview that marriage is like a cloth that gets torn and you need to mend it.
Yes.
This generation doesn't understand that clothes need to be mended.
They throw them away.
They throw them away and get new ones. Marriage, you mend that cloth and you wear it with pride.
Yes.
All those mended portions and whatever, those are the testimonies or experience
of your marriage.
And we're mending our marriage.
You were mending,
through
really,
life.
through life.
And when you look back at 50 years of marriage, God willing, you'll be able to say we went through this.
Yes,
and
you came out
stronger.
Yes.
We've gone through a lot, and we're still going to go through a lot.
Yes.
But I always tell people, you burn all your bridges.
Yes.
There's no going back.
There's no going back.
It's always going forward. But this generation, they are quick to go back.
Yes.
Some of our own generations are quick to go back, but some of us, we are bent on running the race at whatever cost. We will limp to the finish line.
Mr. Tony Osato Osawaye, a good friend, a brother of many years. And I just, like I always say, keep it real on the program because there's no point, like I said before, talking to you about stuff that nobody's able to live out. So here's a good example, which is why I brought him on the show to talk to us about the fact that things can go wrong, things we didn't anticipate. Yet the marriage need not end or suffer simply because, I mean, look at him talking about his Fumi after so many years. So young men out there, this is an example to you, okay, of a man who has been faithful, who has stood through the thicks and thins of being married to the same woman for 24 years. It's a good example. It's a godly example. And really, one of the things that he keeps saying is about the grace of God, because God is the factor that keeps it all together. So if we work with him, we can get it right. Okay. So Tony, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
You're welcome, it's a pleasure.
I really appreciate your sharing because, you know, when you share your life really on radio. So here we are. Thank you so much. God bless you. I know that you and Fumi are still going to that 50 years. And maybe you never know, Noel and Nathan might still show.
Yes, maybe. And the Lord will provide the able.
for them, I'm sure you will. Okay,
and the strength
then,
to do it,
because it's not easy. All right. So thank you so much for joining us. Remember that our social media platforms are still available and open to you. On Twitter, we are Chinwe Dovice. On Instagram and Facebook, we are Dovice with Chinwe Kalu. Join us, talk about this, ask questions, refer to what we're talking about, and, you know, let's talk some more about the issues. We don't want to keep giving rules and telling you what to do. We want you to get back to us. Tell us the things we're asking you to do. Are they possible? Are you trying them? Are they working for you? Let's get some feedback as we keep talking to you, okay? Meanwhile, our commitment is still to help you build your strong families. Keep building that family. Stay with the issue. It will pass. This too shall pass, okay?
Amen.
I'll see you again next episode. God bless you.